amazing life.
$20.
The Boom Podcast
Let's put volleyball.
starts now.
Mayo! Sit!
Whoa!
She's a hitter now. She's a hitter.
Oh.
High school volleyball skills, collegiate D1 skills from Megan Ferris. Back then, Sackstetter. She was a big setter. I'm gonna bump it to you, bump set, and Todd will kill. You ready? Follow along on YouTube. Pass. Set. Hold up. She had to again. Oh, yes! That was violent
Great
and
job.
good. A terrible pass, and you had to bump the set, but you're good at that.
Might
You're
have been a
adapted.
lift.
That was a
It's fine.
D1.
It's fine.
No, it was not
Well,
a lift. It was not a lift.
long time
It was
ago.
right there.
I saw a spin. I saw a side
I
spin.
know, they're a little...
Yeah, no, it's totally
You saw
fine.
size spin.
No, it's allowed. It's
Volleyball
fine.
joke there.
It was fine. How many of you are
It's good
into
volleyball
volleyball
humor.
jokes? Let's do as
mean,
many
volleyball humor
volleyball jokes
is-
as we can.
I played volleyball. Megan would let me join her teams every once in a while to play in like these adult leagues.
Oh yeah.
There's
Is it
always
like
this-
sand volleyball or
Both.
Okay.
But there's this
Usually,
one guy
yeah.
that we'd always play with, and he just took it way too serious.
that guy?
and
That
so
guy.
It's always that
and
guy.
he's
always that
on
guy.
our team, and he would constantly like I would go to set, and then instead of hitting it, he would just grab it, be like, nope. Two or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like there was
Definitely, yeah.
too much spin on the ball, so he'd
that's
call me
awesome.
out. I'm like, dude, just
Like we're not pros.
You're
like,
on my team.
I
Was he
know,
on
and
your
he's
team?
on our team.
He's like, no, I don't want to win that way.
Yeah,
You
no.
cheater. That's what.
Gosh.
Don't
That's
want to
so
win
good.
that way.
That's right, man. You got to have some dignity in victory. I love it. Megan was the volleyball standout amongst our group.
Weren't you an Olympic gold medalist?
Division
I was.
One and
It was
Olympic gold
Misty
medalist.
May, Megan Ferris,
Yes.
and that other
And the
Carrie
trainer,
lady.
the
Yeah.
trainer. Yes, that's good. Yeah, Megan. She's,
Yeah. Well, I
That's
don't
how
know,
we met.
guys.
That's how Megan and I met.
That is how we met.
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. I did.
You were doing decathlon? Is that right?
I like this story because it's fun. I randomly remember this from I took a coaching volleyball class at the University of Evansville, prestigious and difficult.
The
University
coaching
of
or
Evansville.
You, like,
University of
needed
Evansville?
one credit for
it's
something.
rigorous academia at the University of Evansville, and so I was
Academy
in my coaching
Award-winning,
volleyball class.
Academy Award-winning alumni. Guy.
So,
I think
yes,
you might have been the only student in that
that
class.
ever
Is
took
that
it.
true?
Yes, I was. It was an
you
independent
were-
study.
Yeah.
Which makes me seem like I just stalked the volleyball team. I did not. I had a girlfriend who's now my wife at the time.
Independent
but,
study.
But I would help out at practice, right? And so I met Megan there, and literally the first thing she ever said to me was, "quote I've got mad hops today." That's the very first thing Megan, then Sackstetter, now Ferris, ever said to me, Terry, and a friendship was born
It's really funny.
from that. It's true, yeah, because we were doing a drill where
Yeah.
you had to jump up and just touch the ball, and I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
tall.
Yeah.
And so I could just hold
you
it
were
at
holding
the
it
top
up.
of the net, and then
Yeah.
the girls would come up and they'd have to jump and hit the ball, and that would be about it. Anyway,
I
Megan
lived
said,
in a land of giants then.
Yes.
There was a lot of tall people
Yeah,
in me,
yeah.
so I had to have the hops on. I had
Yeah.
to put the afterburners on.
You're proud
man.
of yourself that day, so
Yeah, we go to nationals in volleyball. We call it Land of the Tall Parents.
right,
Yeah.
right? It's like a genetic
of
pool
6-foot
of
women.
yeah.
What's
it's
the first
amazing.
thing that
6'2"
Todd Ferris
guys.
ever said to me? What was the very first time you and I met? That'd be interesting if we could figure it out. I doubt
Gotta
we
be
can.
in the Schrader residence hall, I
Yes.
would assume.
Correct. We were not
Okay.
roommates,
Oh,
but
wait.
we
Oh,
lived
no,
down
yeah.
the hall from each other
Yeah.
in our dorm.
Did you meet in the bathroom with your shower caddies?
It's possible. In the flip flops. Yep, we might have. I don't know.
I was a guy that tried to borrow my, what's that called that you clean yourself with?
Loofah?
Soap.
sponge.
Soap.
Why did we both say loofah?
What's that word for the cleansing
Surely he
substance
knows the
that you
word.
rub on your body?
Surely he knows the word soap. Surely.
Yeah,
Soap.
loofah
Why
would have
soap?
been like, okay, I couldn't think of loofah, but it's soap. It's soap.
So,
You know it bubbles up,
so awesome.
cleans you.
I just remember
It's
JD
great.
asked to borrow my soap one day. I was like,
Oh,
that's
really?
Just weird.
That's a
like,
little too
I don't
much.
know.
Is it a bar soap or like
Yeah,
a gel?
bar.
Oh, that's weird.
Because they didn't really
That's
have
weird.
gels back then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it wasn't a
That's
thing.
not okay.
Yeah,
Back
just a
then.
bar. No, it's true.
Shower
We all had a
gel,
bar.
guys.
We all showered with bars
sure.
back then,
Yeah.
Megan. You don't know what it was like for us, just with the loofahs and the shower gels. We didn't have any of that when
you're
I
so
was
young.
going to
Just a
school.
bar of soap, and that's all you can get.
The
at
rigorous
dime
academia
store.
of University of Evansville.
So young.
Yeah, JD also the guy that
great.
would take his own toilet paper to the bathroom. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah.
would share a bar of soap, but he would not share
Did he
toilet
also
paper.
put baby powder in his underwear?
Okay.
He was a pamperer of his posterior. Yeah.
In his
he was.
defense, the
I don't
toilet
know.
paper at college is a little rough. It's a little sandpapery and thin.
He brought 5-ply which is incredible.
Whoa.
I made that up. That's not real.
Is that
Okay.
a thing?
This could really go south, and maybe already has. So let's dive in. Welcome to the show. I'm Terry. That's my college down the hall mate, Todd.
Yes.
Across the table is my dear friend,
We are-
mutual friend is how we met. Mutual friend, your brother slash sister.
We are
Well, your
recording.
sister
We're
slash
good.
brother-in-law.
Oh, good.
Producer Christian is right there, and then Megan and I met in volleyball class, and class for me,
Independent study,
practice
yeah.
for her. And I am Terry, and Jordy's over there. We met through Todd, and Holly's way over there. We met through Todd and Megan, so that's how I know everyone
It's
on the table.
wonderful.
Jack is upstairs. He's our
Dog,
potty
podcast dog.
Yeah, I met him through Christian.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did
Did
as
you?
well.
Yeah, you guys, everybody did. I guess.
Jack's
yeah.
the best. Jack's pushing about 8 pounds, and
Yep.
Yeah,
he
Jack's dripping wet, yeah.
ferociously every time when we ring the
He
doorbell.
does.
You just let him loose.
Yeah.
You open the door,
Yes,
and he comes
and he charging
running out
Yes.
with all the tenacity and
Yes.
viscosity of an 8-pound dog.
A lot of viscosity
and then he
prevents thermal breakdown.
Viscosity.
Yes, to prevent thermal breakdown, Christian, go ahead.
you don't want that. And then he just calmly lets you pet him and
Yep.
love on him.
That's right.
And goes
It's a
back
great
inside.
dog.
He's a great dog.
He's the best. All right. Okay, so we roll on. This is episode 10 or something in season 3, which is exciting. It's all about lead generation. And today we're talking about for sale by owner.
Ooh.
It's FSBO for the win.
Whoop.
FSBO for the win. Do you guys ever have to catch yourself when you're talking to a client from saying FSBO because they don't know what that is?
Yes.
I do sometimes.
I had a
Like, ooh,
client
for
call
sale
him
by owner.
Fizbers.
FSBR.
Fizber.
Okay.
For sale
What?
by,
Earner.
I don't know what the R would be.
Roner.
FSBOs.
For sale by resident?
Maybe.
Not bad.
Maybe.
Not bad.
Well, we say
could
"warsh"
go with
around
that.
here in Indiana, so maybe it's just the Indiana way, adding the "er." But this could be a huge piece of your business if you get into it, if you dive in. And so we're gonna give you some strategies, some options, some tactics, some tools for working with for sale by owners, so that you can win in life. Right?
Win, win, win.
Do it.
This is one of my favorite lead gen
Is it really?
sources, actually. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's some that you cringe about and you hope you never have to do. And then there's some that pump you up. And I've always enjoyed for sale by owners, but they really are a great avenue for new clients to build relationships. And the other great thing about them is normally they're buying and selling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a twofer.
Could be a
You know,
two.
it could be a twofer, and you just never know. So it's worth the effort, and also helps you give clients to or value to your clients that you have right now. So your buyer clients, if you know all the for sale by owners around, you also are going to be a better agent
true.
to
Yeah,
them. So
Knowing
there's
that market.
there's just so many great things about for sale by owners and working with them. So these might give you extra anxiety, but we're going to talk to you about how to get through this, and we're going to make it easy and painless, and you're going to get a bajillion leads. That might not be true. So
If you're
don't
stressed, we
count
have a
it, but-
squeeze toy.
yes.
I have
FSBO for the win.
I have always steered clear of for sale by owner.
Really?
I've never gone after, even still to this day, never gone after. I've worked with for sale by owners when I brought a buyer to a for
Okay.
sale by owner, but I've never gone after them as a source
Like
of business.
actively.
Never actively pursued.
Interesting.
No,
Okay.
I just haven't. So I'm curious about how you guys break this
Yeah.
so
down.
much fun.
I have 2 thoughts on the matter. One is, what are we looking for as agents? We are, there's an adage, you list, you last, right?
Yes.
So one of the
Yep.
goals in your business is to become more of a seller's agent over time.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, so what we're looking for sellers.
Okay.
And we're looking for sellers that actively want to sell their home. And we're looking for sellers that actively want to sell their home and then currently are not represented by an agent. Where can we find
The sarcasm is
people
dripping
like
off of his
that?
microphone.
And that maybe also need to buy a house.
and that possibly
All
are
the
going to turn and
things.
buy a house. And I was just thinking, like, it is this low, and I don't want to say it's the low hanging fruit because it's not.
You got to work for
Not
it. You got to
necessarily
climb.
easy.
You got
Fruit
to
is
climb.
sweet.
No, it's sweet. You got to
This
climb the
is-
tree for it,
Oh.
the
though.
low hanging ugly fruit. What's the really prickly
wow.
one that doesn't taste
Oh,
good?
a kumquat. No,
Soap? Is it soap,
That might
Todd?
be soap.
Are you thinking of soap?
he's like apple. No,
But and not to say that all for sale by owners, because that's the other thing about them is a lot of people think that they're really scary and stuff. And
Yeah.
they're usually not. So,
Okay.
but I was just thinking. So that was one thought I had is like this is an
a good
obvious
thought.
thing that we're looking at, and people have the for sale by owner sign in the yard, and we're like, oh, that's potential business.
Mm-hmm.
most of us drive by
Yeah.
and don't even try.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to change that mindset, which
Okay.
is why I've been challenging our new agents to change their mindset about that. And I've been basically telling them, listen, if you want business, are you doing everything you can to get business?
Right, right.
Okay.
Or are you calling every for sale by owner that you see?
Right.
No, you are not.
Yeah, Todd's in an
dare
angry
you.
place today. You could just kind of tell. You could just kind of
you
tell.
are not.
I got my. By
Sheesh.
the way, if I wear my hat backwards as a 40-year-old, do I look hip and young, or do I look
me
like
see.
a guy that's trying to squeeze into his 30s
I
again?
find you very
Squeeze
attractive.
into my 30s.
And do I need to
Squeeze
turn
it.
my hat slightly askew?
I don't think that's helping. I don't
Is
think
that
the askew
make
is
it
helping.
even younger.
I think that's trying too hard. I think you can probably go backwards and be fine, but when you askew, now
Is it
you're
the
trying
askew?
too hard.
All right,
Unless
all
you're a
right, let's
celebrity.
straighten it up.
If you're a celebrity, you can go for it.
can
It
do it.
works. Okay, so 3.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna paint out paint the journey here for us.
Paint it.
Great.
We got to do 3 things. We
Okay.
got to get into their head.
Paint
do
by
it.
Get into
number.
the head of a FSBO.
Yes.
do it.
We've got to connect with that FSBO.
Do it.
And then we've got to win over that FSBO.
Win 'em over.
If we've done those 3 things, we will have FSBO business, all right?
Yep.
So let's break down each one of those, and that's the show today, all right? Todd, let's
do
start
it.
with you. How do we get into the head of a FSBO?
Well, what you're going to want to do is you got to think about the motivation. Why are they a FSBO? Why do they sell by themselves? All right. Some of them, it's just purely, and I would say this is probably the leading contender, is that they're just trying to save money.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because they really want to be a real estate agent when they grow up.
That might be
Oh.
what it is.
But I think that's been no one ever that's really thought that.
So, yes, they are, for the majority of the first sale by owner people, they're just simply trying to save on commission dollars. Okay. So,
Yep.
we're going to talk about why we can combat that later, how we can combat that later. But that's one. Second is they might just be a do-it-yourself type of person where they're just like, you know what, I
Yes.
do everything myself.
Yes.
I gave myself a tonsillectomy.
I took out my own gallbladder.
I once pickled my own onions.
I like that one.
No, I saw
pickle
an interview
onions?
with a guy who made his own teeth out of rocks in his driveway.
I think
What?
I've seen that.
Did you see what I'm
I
talking
think
about?
I've seen that.
I
like-
made my own teeth.
Yeah, he made a complete set of false teeth.
Yeah, like, yeah.
And out of like polished limestone
Yeah,
rocks.
polished
I know.
limestone.
It's the
Wow.
craziest thing I've
Did
ever
they
seen.
look
They
like
look
teeth?
great.
Yeah,
They looked awesome.
A little yellow, but look good.
But for being homemade rocks
Yeah.
in your driveway, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
That's weird. That's crazy. That's hardcore
amazing.
DIY guy.
I'm a
Yeah.
link in show notes.
Yep, that guy is
Okay.
for sure for sale by owner.
He's going, yeah, that's right. Oh, I need help selling my home. I made my own teeth. I think I can sell my own house.
Out of rocks.
Out of rocks in my driveway.
That's a selling point
And it's
of
a
his
selling
house.
feature of the house. Teeth in the driveway.
They have your own
There's
teeth.
teeth everywhere.
Yep, you just gotta polish them up and fit them. Custom teeth. Overcome that objection, realtor.
Just like Michelangelo said, you just chip away what's not teeth.
That's what you
There
do.
you go.
I just
That's
chipped
what
away.
Michelangelo said.
Yeah, that's how he sculpted. He sculpted by chipping
Just
away
chip it
everything
all
that's
away
not
until
teeth.
you're David.
Yep.
All right, so you got to
All right,
do
so
it
DIY
yourself,
guy. That was good. Megan likes it, especially. Megan's super
Teeth
excited.
everywhere.
There's teeth all over.
You've got for sale by owners that come from experience. They may have held their real estate license. They've been an attorney. So they just
Right.
have more experience in the matter.
Yep.
And then there's areas where they're just like, it's easy. Like I am
Yeah.
in a hot market and I don't need your help. Now, all these things are combatable. And we
Combatable.
will combat them.
Yeah,
but
we
I'm just
will.
telling you, you got to understand why these people are for sale by owners. By the way, there's one that
You said compatible, not compatible, right?
yes,
Compatible, yes.
By the way, there's a fifth one, which is some people just don't know. Like
Oh, that's a good
they
point.
just don't
True.
know that they can use an
Yeah.
agent.
True.
They're like,
Yep.
this is just. I figured this is what
need
you
someone
do.
Yep, I
Oh,
saw this
so,
sign
yeah.
at Lowe's that says for sale, and I'm just
Yeah,
going
so I'm
to
just
try
gonna
this.
try
I
it.
didn't know it.
I guess
Yeah,
I just put
that's
this in
a
my
good point.
yard and see
Right.
what happens. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So you get
That's a good
into the
one.
heads
Good
of them,
one.
understand them, and then that's when you like it's what's the art of war? Like understand your enemy or something
Yep.
like that. Or
Sounds good.
Not that they're our enemy, but like understand why they want to be a FSBO, and then that's how we're going to connect with them, and that's how we're going to combat them and win them over.
That's
It's
great.
kind of like parenting. You have to know the kid's motivation to be able to level
Oh,
with them and
yeah,
talk to them. So it's the same. Like if you know that somebody's motivation to sell without an agent is to make more money, then when you go to talk to them, you're not offended. You're coming at them, at a place of saying, hey, how can I help you make the same amount of money or more? And that's what's going to speak to them. So I think if you know where they're coming from, you know what to say and how to connect.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I love it. Okay, so that's how we're in their head now. Like we're just
Yeah.
all
So
up in their
up
head
in their
for
head.
sure. We're gonna connect. We're gonna win them over. But before we do, let's get to today's sponsor, Mid-Show
Oh.
Read. Let's
Oh,
get
yeah, this
excited
is
about
great.
this.
I'm so excited.
Another fledgling company trying to make it on the big
We have
stage.
a lot of sponsors this year.
Well, a lot of fleggling companies that we're not
Yeah.
charging, so
I
that
can't believe
helps.
it's not spam. That was
Weird.
one of them.
Yeah, that
that's
was
one of
Yeah,
my
that was a good one.
that was a
favorites.
good
Yeah, they're
one.
great.
The
They're
Saw
gonna do
Hotel was
well.
the last episode.
Saw Hotel.
That one's
Yeah.
petrifying.
We
Yeah, it
should-
was terrifying.
We have to look through.
There are people that would do that though.
Totally.
We have to
Totally.
pull up all our sponsors maybe
Actually,
for
now
our
that
outro episode.
you say that, we should.
You got Uncle Lou Loves You. Remember Uncle Lou's Cash
Oh,
App?
Oh,
yeah,
you
that's
know
right,
what?
yeah.
Let's
Oh,
go through
that
those
one
in the
was-
outro episode. That'd
I
be
like that.
fun.
Okay,
That'd be
yeah, we'll
fun
bring
for us.
that
Does
back.
this bother you that I'm using the sword as a pointer to whoever I'm talking to? Does that
a little
bother any
scary.
of you? Does that bother any of you?
It's a little scary, but
You gotta get on YouTube. You kids at home, you got to get on
know.
YouTube so that you can see that I'm pointing the sword directly at the people I'm talking to, whether it's Megan, whether it's Todd, whether it's myself. You jump on the tubes and you'll see.
there's on the tubes.
All right.
Over to you, Todd. Let's
Sponsor.
hear from
So
today's
again, if
sponsor.
you're just chiming in the middle of the season, you haven't been following along, we are giving the opportunity to many sponsors out there to try to boost their business as they make it up and in the ranks.
Yeah.
We just want to help them out. So we're doing these sponsors for free, cheap, easy reads just for them.
Yep.
So here you go.
in the mid-show, here we go.
Okay.
Well,
That was a little startling right out the gate.
the script is written with emphasis. on
Okay.
the well.
All right, should you start over?
Let me start over.
Okay.
Well, look at that. The Swiss are up to it again.
What?
The Swiss?
The
Oh,
Swiss.
you gotta watch them.
Swiss are up to it again.
How many
Haven't-
Swiss listeners do we have, by the way?
We're huge in Swiss.
We're pretty big in
A lot more
Swiss.
now.
Swiss. Yes.
It's one of our target markets.
All right, should we start over?
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
Well, look at that. The Swiss are up to it again. Have a need for suntan oil? Need a quick boost of energy? Having trouble sliding your feet into your shoes? Need a quick mold of your nose? Want to add a little sheen to your hair? Well, the Swiss have the answer to all of your needs with the latest product, Swiss Army Butter. The one-stop shop for the most of life's problems. With Swiss Army Butter, whether it's nutrition, lubricant, accelerants, or just a simple paperweight, we have you covered. Visit SwissArmyButter.com and get your first stick of butter for free. In fact, sign up before the end of the year and get 30% off an annual membership where we'll send you a stick of butter every week for the rest of your life at Swiss Army Butter, where you can have your bread, head, and bed buttered on both sides.
Oh, wow.
Did you say
What
accelerant?
a unique. What a unique.
Was accelerant in there?
It's- Yeah.
Swiss
Yes.
Army Butter. It's
Yeah.
Does
so
it
many
all.
purposes.
Do
Just
anything.
does it all.
So many things.
Think of the viscosity.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's amazing you haven't hit it big yet.
I
Swiss
tell
Army
you,
Butter.
the Swiss are at it again. You know, man, oh man, they just keep on
don't
keeping
give up.
on. All right, well, that's I think there's a real market for that one. I'm excited for that company, and I
about
think
it.
that's one to keep your
When were
eye
they at
on.
it the first time? When were the Swiss at it the first time?
Oh,
At it again?
with a
Christian,
I think.
Now
Christian.
you just
Did I just
Was
make
it-
all
You
the
just
Swiss people mad?
ostracized all
Probably
our
banking,
Swiss. The
The
banking
Swiss
and
Army
knives.
is going to come for you
Swiss
now
Army
with,
knife.
with
That was the
multiple
last time, I
tools
think.
to destroy you.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. There's a toothpick in here, even. Okay. Oh, that's the tweezers. Dang it. I need the toothpick. All right. Anyway. Okay. So we got into the head of a FSBO. We've heard from Swiss Army Butter, and now it's time to connect with
Time
the
to
FSBO.
connect.
Let's do it.
Wow. All right. Bringing it back in. All right. So,
Well.
Well, Megan's at it again.
What was the second line of that?
the Swiss are at it. Wait.
No, that's the third line.
The Swiss are at it again. Is that the
Well, look at that.
Look at that. I like that too. Well, look at that.
is that the catchphrase?
Swiss are at it
again.
They're at it again.
Swiss are
again.
I love it.
Oh,
I love
so
it.
much fun.
I think we think that's more funny than our listeners.
I think a lot of the times about this podcast,
Most
that is
things.
accurate.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
Yep. So, all right, guys. So now we're going to connect with all these for sale by owners. So how are we going to do that? First, we're going to start with finding them. So the first thing you're going to do is find all of the for sale by owners in the area you are proactively farming. So
Megan, get it together. What's the
I'm gonna
problem?
hardly even. I don't know. For those on the tube right now, they can see Todd looking creepy into the camera while I'm trying to talk about something super serious. I mean, you guys. Okay, You guys really have to
I
get on
broke
YouTube.
character.
It really
I couldn't do
is
it.
just amazing. So,
Sorry to interrupt.
ooh, that's what nightmares are made of. But okay, so you're gonna find all of the for sale by owners
Yes.
in your farming area. So it's okay if you find them other places, but the whole idea is that you're gonna get really, really into the area that you're farming, and you're gonna know all of the for sale by owners that are there. So whether it's forsalebyowner.com, whether you're driving the area, whatever, however you can, Zillow, all of those places have lists of for sale by owners so that you can make sure that you're targeting that area all the time. Okay.
Yep.
So then next thing you're going to do is reach out and ask to view the home, introduce yourself, ask to get more info. Usually my strategy is always I call just to get more info on the house. I say, I work with buyers in this area. This is my area. I love to know all the houses available so I can share them with the buyers that I have. Tell me a little bit about the house. And I just let them talk about them and the house. And they will just let you know everything and tell you all the great things about the house. And I say, great, I'm going to try and find you a buyer. I always ask, will you work with a buyer's agent? If so, and then I give value after that. So I am not selling myself. And I think that's the key is when you connect with somebody, it's not about you and you're not selling like, hey, well, I can do this and I can do this. And it's all about me and my business and how I can do it better than you, because that's how it comes across. So if you just ask about the home, get the info, ask if they'd work with you if you brought a buyer, and then give them value. So some of those things are, hey, do you need signs? Do you need a flyer box in the front yard? Is there anything I can help you with? Some flyers? Just helps me get to know you and help out any way I can. The other thing is assessments and tips on the listing. Maybe, if you ever need anything like what's going on in the market or just have any tips, I'm happy to give you those. And then the last thing is just if you ever have questions. I had one that I picked up once, and she continued to be listed for about 6 months, and she'd call me once about every month and say, man, what do I do about this? And I'm like, other than giving her, counseling that I shouldn't be giving her, just little tips and stuff, I'd just say this, without any strings attached. And then when it didn't sell, she called me right back. And it was a great relationship. So, and then the last thing is offer to help them for a percentage over their list price that is reasonable to the fees that you need to charge. So usually I'll say, hey, I look at the listing before I call and I know how much they're asking. And I might be able to say, hey, listen, this really is worth X amount over what you're asking right now. So if it was online and it was getting the showings and the traffic that we could help you get, you would you would make more than you would pay for me anyway. So I think sometimes breaking down those numbers is what blows people's minds. So
I mean, if you could just go to them and say, listen, you've already established a relationship with them. Everything's hunky dory.
Yes, it is.
You're giving them value. They like you, and you just go to them and say, listen, I know you're willing to pay a 3% commission to the buyer's agent.
right.
So really what you're trying to save at this point is 3% on the listing side.
Yep.
So what if we just made a deal? Let me throw this on, you're listed at 200,000. Let me throw this on the listing or the MLS at 206.
Yep.
And that way, if it sells, when it sells, I'm not only going to get you in front of thousands and thousands and thousands upon more eyes because we're putting it on the MLS, but you're not out anything because you're still selling 6% or 3% higher than what you were listed for. Yeah. So really, there's no loss to you for that, and you get the listing. And even if it's not going to sell, you get more internet leads.
Yep.
And B, they'll probably eventually reduce their price because they're going to want to sell the home anyways, and they'll just stay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see the value once you get there. Then you have a lockbox on. They're not having to meet people for showings. They're not having to do all of that work. You're doing it for them. Then they see more of that value, which is good, and that's a really good strategy, I think.
Well, and notice too, like Megan's strategy, which is what we are imploring upon you listeners, is that this is not a call them up and convince them, give them the hard sale on why they should use you. This is a create a relationship, give value to them, and if you do those two things, if and when they need a realtor, you're going to be the one they go to.
Right.
It's going to be very hard to convince a for sale by owner to just use you, just like come in and be like, this is why you should use me, and get them to do it.
Right.
But if you create a relationship and you're giving them value, when they have a need, they'll go to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll be the one they trust.
Yeah.
And do know that there are going to be people that are just cranky. It's like if you called an expired or somebody comes into an open house, and every lead gen source, there's going to be some people that they're just going to be cranky. So don't let that deter you from for sale by owners.
Yeah.
Just know that that'll happen every once in a while. And also remember that by doing this, you give your buyer clients such a better option. You're going to be able to give them homes that aren't on the MLS either. So, so you're a better better agent as well.
Nice.
That's right.
So good news. We're in their head, and now we're
All up in
connected
it.
to them.
Yes.
Yep.
And so now the big question How do we win them over? How do we win them over, Todd?
Numero uno. You want to be...
Speak Spanish.
Sí.
I'm not telling you to speak Spanish. I was saying number one is speak Spanish.
Okay.
Just because you
Good.
said numero uno. That was really gentle
Say,
comedy.
where's the bathroom?
I did.
Christian, last 20 seconds. Let's cut the whole
thing out?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
it went really poorly.
I'll time code that real quick. Go ahead.
You know how the rest of the podcast is going perfectly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredibly.
Just that.
That last 20
Just that
seconds
20
was not
seconds.
great. Now it's about 40 seconds because
All right.
I've belabored the point a little bit.
Got it.
All right, here we go. So we need to win them over, Todd. How
Yes.
do we do that?
Numero uno. All right, so number one, this is kind of in what we were just talking about. Be kind, be useful, but don't be pushy, all right? Again, we're offering value. You're not pushy. Part of the reasons why FSBOs can get angry at agents is because they get hit up. Now, there's not a lot of us doing it, but the ones that are, they're getting hit up by the same agents, and a lot of those agents are pushy and be like, hey, I'd like to list your house.
All right, so we've
look
gotten
at-
in their head. We've connected. Now we need to win them over, Todd. What do we do?
Numero uno. All right, be kind, be useful, don't be pushy. Play the long game with them. That's what we're trying to tell you to do. Earn their respect, and then you will earn their business. Number two, give to receive. We talk about this a lot in most of our lead generation systems, is offer value. If you offer value, then they will return the favor at an eventual point. Be the yin to their yang. Be the bread to their butter. Swiss Army
Oh,
butter.
nice.
.com.
That
Nice.
one's free.
Way to work that in.
That one's
That was
free,
good.
just like the other one. They're both free.
And one of the best ways that you can bring them value is to bring them buyers. So if you bring them buyers and they're paying a BAC or a broker's agent commission, then you still make money off of it. So boom, and then you might earn their business as well. Even if you don't sell their home,
Double
list their
boom.
home, they might turn around and buy a home. They
Yep.
get to represent them. So double boom, boom,
Yep.
boom.
Yep.
All right. And then last but not least, follow up with them. Lots of
Okay.
follow-up, all right? And this just simply, again, don't be tenacious, don't be viscosious. Just make sure that...
Yep.
I would love it if we could have just
Yep.
not reacted to him saying viscoscious.
Just keep going.
And then people would be like, what is viscoscious?
That's a
I'm
new
going to look
term.
that up. Siri, what does viscoscious mean?
But make sure you are following up with them on a semi-regular basis so that you are
Okay,
not
I'm just
annoying
going to
them.
picture-in-picture there. I'm going to have Megan react to everything.
Okay.
Todd
Oh,
says.
that's a
Oh,
new
look at
feature.
this. New feature if you're watching. This is a big YouTube episode.
Okay, you just continue, and then we'll just
Okay.
watch Megan in the corner
This
react.
is how I react usually.
All right, but make sure that you are following up so that they don't forget about you. Again, just as most of lead generation goes, it's all about the mind share. Who owns the mind when they have a real estate need? And so if you are working with them and you're reminding them that you're still there and offering value, then you will own the mind share and you will be good to go.
It's good stuff, everyone. I am no longer afraid to go after
Don't be
the for
afraid.
sale by owner.
Don't
I'm
be
not
scared.
afraid. I'm
No
excited.
need to be afraid.
And I'm going to have some FSBOs for the win. We want to hear from you. We want to follow up with you. But you have to initiate it. Email info@boomrealestatepodcast.com and find us on all the social media channels.
Let's chat.
Season 3 rolls on lead gen, rocking and rolling, building your business well.
Yes!
Look at that. Look at that. The Swiss are at it again. See you next time.